Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of I Heart Monday. And of course, I hope you do as well. Today, I want to discuss the lies that we tell ourselves. I think that everybody can think of some words of wisdom that their parents gave them at some point in time in their life, right? And it's going to be different for most of us. But I can say that one of the most beneficial things that my mother ever told me was when you lie to yourself, you're only getting over on yourself. But before we get too deep into that, one of the questions that you might be asking yourself is, why is that so beneficial? Why is that one of the most important things that stands out to you? Well, I'll tell you why. Because when we lie to ourselves, we put ourselves into so many situations that we probably could have avoided. And we talk ourselves into believing so many things that we probably would have been more beneficial without. Prime example, number one, I don't have time. One of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that we don't have time to do the things that we want to do or the things that we need to do. But here's the thing, you got the same 24 hours that I got. You got the same 168 hours a week, and we got the same amount of time in a year. The only difference is if you don't live to see those hours. The problem then becomes is, are you focusing that time on what you need to do, or are you focusing that time on what you want to do? I think before we start to overanalyze the fact that we don't have enough time, I think you need to actually take a look at what it is that you're spending your time on. Because even if you're procrastinating, you're still utilizing your time the way that you want to utilize it. Next lie that we tell ourselves. I don't know how. I don't know how to get what it is that I want. I don't know how to obtain the goal that I desire. I don't know how to get the results that I want. Why? Let's just toss it out. Let's just say you honestly, in your heart, feel like you don't. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a lie that we tell ourselves. But ask yourself, why don't you know? Here's what I've learned about learning. Here's what I've learned about knowledge. And here's what I've learned about wisdom. First of all, so knowledge will spoil if you don't use it and it's not applied to an experience. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't put it to use, if you don't put it into action, then it's never going to develop into wisdom, right? So I want to ask you to ask yourself a question is, why don't you know how to do what it is that you want to do? There's an old phrase, if you want to hide something from somebody, then you put it in a book. When's the last time you opened the book? When's the last time that you've went online doing your due diligence? When is the last time you've done research? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people might not know how to do research. You might not be the best at doing research, right? But I want to ask you to challenge yourself. When's the last time you've done research? When's the last time you've read a book? Another thing that I've learned is a lot of times we don't know how to ask the right questions to trigger the right results. Sometimes it's all in the questions that you've asked. I can think of several situations where I have found myself bumping my head trying to find the answers to something, right? And I might do a little bit of research. I might crack open a book. I've learned something, and now I can take it to somebody that I think might know some information about it. And now I'm able to ask the type of questions that will open doors that I previously might not have known because I didn't do the research. You might not be good at doing research. You might not be good at doing your studying or your due diligence. But one of the questions that I challenge you to ask yourself, if you are lying to yourself saying, I don't know how, ask yourself why. Because I'm be honest with you. The road that you're journeying down has been journeyed down before. So where there's a will, there's a way somewhere in there. Lie number 3. Someone else is better or stronger than I am at doing what I want to do. So what? It's always going to be somebody better. It's always going to be somebody stronger. But peep game, here's something you might not have realized about yourself. There is something that you can do that nobody else can do the way that you do it. There is something that is unique within you, even a skill, a characteristic. I like to label it as a superpower because it's something that you uniquely have that nobody else can do the way that you do it. So stop focusing on what you think that somebody else can do better than you. Stop focusing on what you think somebody is stronger than you at, because they're probably looking at you thinking the exact same thing. However, they have put energy into a strength and they're using it to their benefit. Trust your strengths and trust the source of your strength. Prime example, David and Goliath. Now listen, Goliath had to be like 9-10 feet tall. Goliath come from a stock of individuals that was known for being behemoths. Like, he wasn't just an anomaly, right? Goliath's whole team was huge. Like, they was big, right? But David had his own strengths and he trusted the source of his strength. And we all know the story of David and Goliath and how he was able to overcome Goliath with just a slingshot. But it really wasn't just a slingshot. It was the power of the Lord and the faith that he had in it. So, with that being the case, stop telling yourself the lie that you're not better or you're not strong enough to do what it is that you desire to do. What you really need is a little bit more faith and a little bit more trust in the strength that you already have inside of you. We gotta stop telling ourselves these lies, ladies and gentlemen. It's only slowing us down. So a little homework assignment. If you're willing to do your homework, ask yourself, do a little heart check. What is a lie that you tell yourself? Drop it in the comments below. I'm just curious. But what are the lies that you tell yourself? And what are some of the lies that you even had to overcome in your own life? Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to perspective. I Heart Mondays. I hope you do too. From Sir Evans with love. Salute.